5 seconds to go. Start. It is clear from the discussion above that the RBI has wide supervisory powers over financial institutions like SIDBI, in furtherance of which any direction issued by the RBI deriving power from the RBI Act or the Banking Regulation Act is statutorily binding on the defendant. Admittedly, the RBI issued notification dated 10th April 1997 deriving power from section 45 MB2 of the RBI Act. Thereby, the RBI froze the assets of CRB Capital on the grounds of public policy for the purpose of protecting interests of creditors and depositors of CRB Capital. The RBI did not cite any provision in its direction dated 9th June 1997 to the defendant, as it was not under any compulsion to do so. It was sufficient that the RBI's power to issue such a direction could be traced to either section 45 MB2 of the RBI Act or section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act. Hence, the said direction was statutorily binding on the defendant. Without the said direction, the notification dated 10th April 1997 would have been rendered toothless, causing irreparable harm to the creditors and depositors of CRB Capital. In reference to the directive dated 9th June 1997, the defendant proactively sought advice from the official liquidator in regards to the payment of interest income to the defendant, but in absence of the official liquidator's consent and guidance, the defendant could not have made the payment without inviting onerous consequences for itself. Hence, it can be said that the defendant acted prudently, being conscious of the legal obligation to withhold such payment to the plaintiff. Further, in reference to section 531 of Companies Act 1956, read with section 441(2) of the same act, it cannot be denied that there was a suspicion over the title of the plaintiff's predecessor in interest. Ipso facto, the plaintiff's title with transaction during the suspect spell was also under a cloud. It is clear from the discussion above that such suspicion was not misplaced, as it was shared by the RBI as well as the official liquidator. Immediately after the company court wide its decision 17 December 2004 clarified the position that the plaintiff was in the clear for the concerned transactions. The defendant has duly ensured compliance with the said order. Hence, it is clear that the defendant acted bona fide in withholding the payment. The elements that could have weighed on the defendant for not making timely payments are contravention of the RBI directives, issue being related to the ongoing litigation in the Delhi Company Court, concerns with the defendant's title over the bond's promissory notes transacted during the suspect spell, and these perturbing elements cannot be brushed aside as not relevant. Stop.